My name is Rick Ross, and I'm going to do a little soapbox presentation for my presentation for definition of a 21st century quality leader. And I'm going to direct this to my classmates and instructor and speak in terms that I think we will all understand. Over the last 20 years or so, there's been a definite change in the emphasis from managerial duties of a principal to an increase in leadership and administrative duties. It just covers a broad spectrum of responsibilities. We all know the DESE outlines the standards for an educational teacher, or I'm sorry, educational leader / principal. It's in depth, it's multi-tiered, it's all encompassing. It mirrors the professional learning standards of educational leaders and the Missouri Leadership Standards that are derived from the National Interstate Leaders Licensure Consortium. We see that acronym as the ISLLC, those standards. All of these emphasize the leader as a competent manager and instructional leader who continues to acquire new knowledge and skills while constantly trying to improve their leadership methods to ensure high academic achievement for all students. Ultimately, I would say this is our end of course exam. When we look at meeting those standards, that's our EOC. But I just want to discuss real quick and point out regurgitating professional standard number 8, which states that effective educational leaders engage families and the community in meaningful, reciprocal, and mutually beneficial ways to promote each student's academic success and well-being, does not make me an effective principal. Memorizing Missouri Leader Standard number 1. Education leaders have the knowledge and ability to ensure the success of all students by facilitating the development, articulation, implementation, and stewardship of a school or district vision of learning supported by the school community. It is no secret, there is not the secret to being a 21st century quality leader. Regrettably, I believe much emphasis, or too much emphasis, is given to the fact that if a person is able to recall the standards, they are indeed a leader. That's one of the things I appreciate about our program is the case studies and the application. I think the application is very important. So the first thing I think needs to be said about a 21st century leader is they do not get caught up in the labeling. Remember that the standards, the traits, all the instruction and the reflection we do is intended to direct us to one desired outcome. And that is to be an educational leader with the tools to lead, educate, and build for the future. But it also to help us become more comfortable in our own skins. It should be a time that we find application for the standards. Sometimes I find it easy to get caught up in memorizing the facts and failing to fit them into real life. I think that is why I truly enjoyed McEwen's 10 Traits, because it made clear the application. It was a truly pleasurable summer read. So my very simple takeaway is this. 21st century quality leader needs to learn something every day and share that learning. And I've seen that done in my high school and in my future with links to articles and summaries and emails, constantly reading and sharing what I deem to be relevant information, and also encouraging the same from my teachers and peers. This encompasses 3 traits. I mean, you're being the communicator, the educator, and the facilitator all in one, just by that simple act. I think that those 3 traits encompass those acts. So we're working to develop teachers' knowledge, their skills, their dispositions, how they approach teaching children. And our ultimate goal is student achievement. So that's what we're all striving for. Second, I think that a 21st century leader is going to create a common culture of expectations around the use of those skills and knowledge that you're sharing. You're not going to just share things to be sharing them. You're going to be sharing them for a structural purpose. Include everyone in the organization together in a productive relationship with one another. Hold individuals accountable for their contributions to the collective results, which again should be improving student achievement and facilitate better teaching methods. Effective teachers lead to student achievement. They go hand in hand. So you're taking the time to affect change by communicating resources and expand knowledge. You need to cultivate those relationships and common commitments and keep them driving in a positive direction. So in essence, you have a plan for where you want to end up, and you're holding everyone accountable for the knowledge and skills you've spent all that time communicating. So this is affecting change in the culture. All of a sudden, you're also an envisioner and a culture builder. So we've got all these in place. We've displayed these traits. It's time to move on a little bit. Let's don't forget to celebrate the successes that we experience while taking all these steps to build that culture. Continue to applaud the exploration and innovation that everyone has, well, that you have inspired as a 21st century leader, quality leader. You're inspiring this. So applaud this innovation that you've inspired through being a communicator, an educator, a facilitator, an envisioner, a culture builder. I'm breaking them down just fairly simple, and I'm trying not to oversimplify them. They're very important. However, the application of them is not that tough if we take the time just to plan and think about it. So this jumpstarts our actions, where I'm the weakest, I feel. Jumpstarts our actions right into activator status. You've chopped the wood, you've put in the work, and you've created buy-in. So now it's time to celebrate that process. Always celebrate the process because the product is ever changing. Continue to elevate expectations and create opportunities for growth within your building. Remember that the recipe is going to be ever evolving. The same thing is not going to work all the time. The end product is student achievement and teacher development. One is not going to happen without the other. So the tricky part is that the pantry does not always have the same ingredients from year to year. Rarely will the result be exactly the same because the main ingredient, the kids, and sometimes teachers, are different each year. They have unique needs, and they bring many precipitating factors to the table. I've discussed precipitating factors at length in other presentations, and these are the things that we bring to the table that create our internal biases and they aid or hinder our decision making. They influence our decisions is what they do. So assessments are going to change. And let's face it, all the standards are going to change as well. That is the constant in education. If you've seen it once, you'll see it again. It's going to cycle back around. You just have to expect it and flow with it. There are some things that are going to change, and that is the standards usually. So this is where the two most important qualities for the 21st century leader come into play. One was not given top billing in our reading, but I find it to be the driving force behind all others. And that is the role of the servant leader, the encourager. McEwen labeled it the contributor. And I like that title. The servant leadership is something I'm familiar with through studies of Wooden, basketball coach John Wooden, and I appreciate that title, and I can fit that into my everyday life. So I like that title. Cultivating this trait in yourself will allow you to see the uniqueness in each member of your team as an individual ingredient in the recipe that you're preparing. Only then can you help manage them to peak within their own skin. This includes students, teachers, parents, all stakeholders in the district. Recognize their individual needs and abilities and interests and help serve them. Rarely will they all respond to the same stimulus. They're all going to have different precipitating factors, different learning styles, different interests. We need to learn to cultivate all of those and appreciate all of them and direct methods of teaching to them. And finally, McEwen did not label this trait, but I referred to it every section of her book. I think it is ultra important to make time to reflect in writing every day. Reflection may be the greatest tool of all. I think it's essential to look back at what and how we communicated to students and staff every day. We need to assess our modeling of our expectations through reflection. Did I convey my message clearly? Was it well accepted? What can I change? Was it the content of the messenger, being myself? If something went poorly, I need to fix it or scrap it. If something went well, I need to celebrate it and build on it. All of these provide the tools to be a 21st century quality leader. But just because you have the driver's manual doesn't mean you can drive the car. I think it's important that we apply what we learn and use it with people. And through the course of our studies, everyone that I read their discussion posts and the responses. I'm confident that everyone that will be watching this video is one of those 21st century quality leaders. That's my soapbox. It's less timely than creating a PowerPoint for me, and plus it just helps me practice. I hope you enjoy it, and wish everyone luck in your future endeavors. Stay in touch.